Hello and welcome everyone to the brand new episode of Elets Innovation Talk. I am Vishwas Sinha, sub-editor at Elets Technomedia, India's leading and largest B2B multimedia platform, proudly celebrating 22 years of excellence. For over 2 decades, Elets Technomedia has spearheaded informative summits driving innovation across governance, health, education, and banking and finance sector. Elets Innovation Talk is our series dedicated to spotlight trailblazing leaders and their groundbreaking contributions across the industry. And today, we are glad to host our guest, Mr. Sameer Goyal, Head of Engineering for Beat at Acuity Knowledge Partners. We welcome you, sir, today for our session. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. So, in order to brief about Mr. Sameer is a seasoned technology leader at Acuity Knowledge Partners, renowned for his expertise in product engineering, application security, and cloud operations. As a head of engineering for Beat, Acuity's strategy technology program, Sameer drives the development of innovative solutions that propel the firm's technological advancements. He has been associated with the Acuity since 2014, and he has consistently demonstrated his leadership with technical acumen. With a deep understanding of risk technology and proven ability to lead customer-focused technology engagements. Mr. Sameer excels in transforming complex technical challenges into high-impact solutions. As a DevSecOps and product enthusiast, he is recognized for his thought leadership in engineering best practices and modern software architecture. Prior to joining Acuity, Sameer has worked with organizations like Saxo IT India, Sapient Global Markets, and other software products and services organizations. He is a frequent speaker at industry webinars and events, sharing his insights and expertise. So today we thank you so much for being here today with us, Mr. Sameer. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
So I think we can kick off our conversation with Mr. Sameer.
Absolutely.
Sure. So first of all, Mr. Sameer, I would like to know, with the BFSI sector increasingly, embracing the digital transformation and, like the scale which it has been on since past 10 years, if we talk about. So what are the emerging cybersecurity challenges you have observed? And how is Acuity Knowledge Partners addressing them?
Thanks for that question, Vishwas. So yes, with the rise in AI adoption across industries and specifically in the banking and financial services and insurance sectors, we are seeing rise in threats, that are mostly emanated by AI, right? So AI-driven phishing, ransomware, third-party vulnerabilities, due to rapid digitalization, are some of the, more common threats, that are evolving. This combined with cloud adoption and complex IT infrastructures, are further expanding the attack surfaces. And then, as the technologies evolve, as industry players, they adopt these technologies, this is only going to expand. So it is better to be proactive than to be reactive in this situation. And that's exactly what Acuity does, right? Acuity Knowledge Partners counters these by, of course, deploying advanced threat detection, robust encryption mechanisms, and continuous monitoring solutions, right? So we conduct regular vulnerability assessments, both our infrastructure and software. And, we review and implement tailored cybersecurity strategies to ensure that our infrastructure and the software ecosystem is resilient and is able to thwart any of these threats that are emerging.
All right. Yes, I guess that's perfectly explained, sir. It's better to be reactive than proactive, and I mean proactive than reactive, and that's the very good phrase that you have used. And thank you so much for answering that, sir. And now I would like to know, sir, India's data protection law, like the DPDP Act, which we are talking about, has been a major regulatory milestone if we talk about in the terms of regulation and governance. So how will it influence and, how BFSI players handle the data storage, consent and breach reporting with this act especially?
Yeah, so I agree. It's a major regulatory milestone. I think one of the largest data protection reforms that has been introduced in the country in a long time. So the DPDP Act actually mandates explicit customer consent for data processing. It also requires stringent storage protocols. And probably one of the more controversial requirements from the act is that the breach, if any, that happens, has to be reported within 6 hours to certain, right? That's the authority to which it is to be reported. So the BFSI players in the country, both the domestic ones and the foreign ones who are operating from India, they will have to enhance their data encryption mechanisms. They will have to invest into putting in place localized storage for data, and of course implement robust incident response frameworks. This act and the requirements therein, they ensure compliance, of the various processes and steps that each BFSI player introduces in data processing, while interacting with the customers in India, and will also increase operational, it has a potential to increase operational complexity for the banks, right? But at the same time, it's required and it is customer friendly because now the entities, the business entities, cannot just process your data without there is explicit consent, by the customer. So overall, I believe it's a win-win, both for the consumer and the enterprises offering services. And I believe that this is going to pave way for a more standard operating mechanism across the industry.
That is really well explained, sir. Thank you so much. And I guess regulations somehow, for the some span of time, create hinders the operations sometime. But if we talk about the long run, then these regulations and these actually streamline the whole process in the ecosystem. So that's what really you have put the light on. Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to know, given your experience in engineering and AI-driven solutions, so how do you perceive the role of AI? I mean, in proactively in identifying and mitigating the cyber threats, basically in BFSI domain only. So, how do you perceive this, sir?
Well, as someone who has been a beneficiary of leveraging AI, particularly in cybersecurity domain, I believe without AI, being able to proactively defend the networks and the enterprises would not have been possible, frankly. The amount of network data that gets generated, in each interaction, right? So, for example, somebody is trying to access their Gmail, right? That one interaction will create megabytes of data, right? And then now multiply that with number of times that somebody is trying to access it versus number of users that are trying to access it, etc. It just multiplies significantly, right? So that amount of data, I don't think it is humanly possible to manually observe and monitor, all that data and then try and find anomaly or patterns, which may be malicious in nature. So AI is making it possible, right? So AI is pivotal in BFSI security. It is enabling real-time threat detection, anomaly identification, and predictive risk analytics. By leveraging ML, machine learning, which is a part of AI, we can counter sophisticated attacks like phishing and adversarial machine learning. Within Acuity, for example, we are using AI to enhance fraud detection and automate incident responses. Thus reducing the breach impact and ensuring that we are always proactively defending the enterprise and our customers alongside.
All right. Yes, that is, I think, has become the necessity by now, sir. Because AI-driven solutions has, practically, because the amount of data which we are dealing right now today is a lot, and if we have, something to make it more easier and by which we can get our things done, then AI is one thing which we can count on, and that's really Acuity is pursuing with it. So thank you so much for answering, sir. And moving forward, I would like to know, sir, with the, like you have also mentioned for ML models, AI ML models, and the integration of Gen AI and LLMs is currently transforming various sectors. Like if we not talk about the banking and NBFCs and BFSI sectors, but each and every sector, like in tech domain, in education, if as well. So how Acuity is leveraging these technologies like Gen AI and LLMs to enhance data security and compliance in the financial services?
Absolutely. We are one of the first movers in the industry really to do this. So at Acuity, we harness Gen AI and large language models to strengthen our data security by automating compliance monitoring, analyzing the very large data sets of information for threat patterns, and also using it for enhancing customer authentication. These technologies have been helping us to streamline, regulatory adherence, as well as, help us to fortify our defenses against, the not just manual but AI-driven attacks, ensuring that the data integrity and the trust in financial services and our services for our customers is maintained.
So, yes, thank you so much for answering that, sir. I mean, having a first mover advantage in Gen AI and LLM models, I think this is somehow, also paved the way, and right now everybody is quite relying on that as well. So, thank you so much, sir. And moving forward, now I would like to know, like every company or every industry has this mechanism of getting innovation within and just using the technology outer. So how does this innovation ensures data integrity and protection against the potential cyber vulnerabilities, I mean cyber threats which are currently procuring in the atmosphere? So what are the innovation that Acuity has produced? Would you like to put the light on it?
Yeah, most certainly. So, see, by virtue of the domain and the industry that we operate in, our customers are operating in an industry which is the world's most regulated, sectors, right? So, financial services. Now, because we deal with people, I mean, our customers basically deal with people's money, and therefore, everything that they do is under the lens always, right? So it is regulatory lens, it is governance lens, it is internal compliance lenses that everybody has to be adhering to. By virtue of us being associated with our customers, our processes are under the lens as well, right? And anything that we do has to adhere to a set of regulations, whether they are global regulations, they are domestic regulations, etc. But then we also need to adhere to that. So, and Acuity has been a digital first enterprise, for many years now. So we have been leveraging technology to generate efficiency, just not just for our own efficiencies, our internal customers, but also for the client, that we service. In that regard, we have been building a lot of technology platforms, right? And I run one of these teams which is involved into innovation management internally. We are known as BEAT. It stands for Business Excellence and Automation Tools. And a number of platforms have been built by my team. One of them is CreditPulse, as an example. And CreditPulse employs AI to enhance data accuracy and it generate efficiencies for creating credit reporting tasks for our customers. So credit review is an important step, right, before a bank decides to extend a loan or a line of credit, to our customer. And you cannot really make mistake, right, in producing a credit review for a client. It has to be absolutely factual. It has to be clear, concise, because the bank is going to be making, a decision to lend them money on the basis of that. So, being a security first, company, we have introduced robust encryption and access controls within each of our platforms, not just CreditPulse, but also others. we undertake regular security audits and real-time monitoring of data against vulnerabilities, thus ensuring data integrity and compliance with the regulatory standards. This has been underlined or emphasized by our annual attestations by a number of external validators that come and review our processes. So Acuity is ISO certified. We are attested and compliant to SOC 2 Type 2 standards. And then all the innovation that we are doing internally is really helping us to meet the expectations of these global certifications, and thus ensure confidence and security for our customers.
Yes, I mean, totally, that is well explained, sir. Thank you so much. And the type of technologies in the department basically you are handling at Acuity, and the CreditPulse, which you have really mentioned about, is actually being beneficial for many banks and BFCs as well. So that is the great thing that Acuity is pursuing. So thank you so much for answering that, sir. And so moving forward, I would like to know. A growing number of BFSI firms, are outsourcing IT operations, and or maybe they are adopting third-party platforms. So, how can they mitigate this risk related to the third-party data exposure and vendor cybersecurity posture because of these outsourcing operations?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful question, Vishwas. See, all of us, are at some point in time using a third party, right? And as I said, BFSI is the one of the world's most governed and regulated industries, and therefore our vendors, also have to be adhering to all the regulations that as a service provider I have to adhere to. To mitigate third-party risks, I can advise BFSI firms, to strictly enforce vendor security assessments. These must not remain limited to, asking a vendor to provide their ISO certificate. We have to go outside of the purview of these certifications to see for ourselves, how robust are their internal security practices. And this can be done, by, of course, asking them to respond to detailed security questionnaires or assessments that we prepare. We have to, validate their encryption standards. We have to validate, how do they handle and maintain data? How do they ensure logical and physical separation of data between different customers? What kind of audit trails, do they have in place? What are their data retention and recovery policies? What kind of endpoint protections, that they are deploying? How do they deal with their own vendors in turn, right? And of course, if they have integrated a real-time monitoring infrastructure in place, on the infrastructure that they are going to be utilizing to service you or provide you services. So all of these things will have to be assessed or should be assessed right at the beginning before engaging any third party. We have found great success in being able to do this, at Acuity when we deal with assessments of our third party providers. And I think, these practices will allow other players in the BFSI segment also to, be confident about engaging the right third party, which does not really lead to, exposures on either of the sides.
That is one task, sir, actually, identifying the right party to, operate with. And, but yeah, technology and regulations are pretty much working for it in order to make it streamlined. And yes, it's good to hear that Acuity is in the same direction as well. So thank you so much for answering that, sir. And so moving forward, now I would like to know, with the rise of IoT ransomware and mobile device attacks, cyber attacks to be specific, what strategies should BFSI companies specifically should adopt to safeguard these evolving threats?
Yeah, I mean, see, the IoT means Internet of Things, which means how your devices interact with the internet, and what all services are they able to offer you. And I think IoT is going to become the mainstream of how we consume technology over the next few years, and probably even more than smartphones, that we are so reliant on. People are going to be dependent on more reliant on their devices, right? Watches, body sensors, etc. So I think that's a segment which the BFSI firms should start to focus on. And I think one thing that many have already started to doing, including Acuity, but it's still not mainstream. But what should happen is firms should start adopting zero trust architecture, which means that um, while you are trusting, you would be inclined to trust your users, your partners, your vendors, your employees, but then don't trust blindly, but always verify, right? That's the underlying principle of zero trust architecture. So things like device certificates, things like multi-factor authentications, network segmentations, etc., are some ways and means in which uh, the firms and enterprises can start to really build a deep which can make sure, or at least which can ensure that even if the first layer of authentication or validation gets breached, there is always a fallback. There is always a layer 2, layer 3, which can help you to thwart these attacks, right? Other things that companies should do is they have to start investing into regularly training their employees and vendors on cybersecurity, on different kind of threats that are emanating. We all, they also need to start investing into endpoint protections. Now, endpoint is that interface using which you interact with the outside world, or outside world interacts with you, and to make sure that you are safeguarding the endpoint. So we have to make investments into endpoint protection, and of course, we have to be able to leverage the AI fully, in the threat detection and threat response landscape. Um, at Acuity, we are already implementing all these strategies alongside with having robust and proactive incident response plans in place, which are validated every few months to ensure that we are always up to date with regards to the threats that are identified, and how can we respond to these threats if ever something happens. This is important to safeguard against ransomware and cyber attacks.
All right, sir. Yes, thank you so much for answering that, sir. Yes, a pretty good point that you have picked out here. Like, if the first layer is, designed in such a manner that it is unbreachable, then these attacks and these, cyber threats are, are nowhere ever to be seen again. So it's very important, to make our workforce more developed and aware of that in order to make this first layer properly good enough in order to prevent us from cyber attacks. So thank you so much again, sir, answering that. And moving forward, sir, now I would like to know that considering the increasing regulatory demands in the data protection, like as we have discussed above, before as well. So how does Acuity assists BFSI clients, in navigating these compliances while maintaining a robust cybersecurity measure?
Certainly. So we assist our customers by helping them automate compliance processes. Right? We have been helping these clients implement strong data governance frameworks. We are also, assisting them in conducting regular audits to meet the requirements around, you know, so we generally don't deal with Indian customers, but customers abroad. So we have been, working with them to so that they are able to meet with the GDPR guidelines in the Europe, for example, or the Dodd-Frank and the data protection in the US. right? Similarly, customers in the Indian context will have to be compliant to the DPDP Act and the RBI guidelines and the BFSI space. So, we do have service offerings, that can help the customers in that sense. What we bring to the table for our customers is, a comprehensive domain expertise in the financial services space, right from the front office arena, and we are able to connect all of these things end to end, and then that expertise is really helpful and beneficial for the clients because consider a bank, right, whose primary focus would be to be able to make money available to the customers, and then by that transaction be able to make some profits. Now, if they were to spend most of their capacity and bandwidth into just adhering to the compliances, they may not be able to do a very good job of earning profits for their stakeholders. By outsourcing this requirements to Acuity, they are able to remain focused on the most important things that they should be doing, and while critical, but something that can be tackled by a partner like Acuity is taken care by us, and our deep domain expertise into the space, particularly the compliance operations, we are able to help our customers monitoring and then preserving adherence to the compliances to various regulations.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for answering that as well, sir. And moving forward to our second last question for today, and I won't take much of your time, sir. So just talking ahead of it, I mean, in the present case scenario, like we are facing, I mean, data from everywhere, cyber security threat cases, or new governments, new rules, and new regulations day by day. Like government is increasing in order to protect our data, and especially in the BFSI sector. So looking ahead, I just wanted to know, like, what are the emerging technologies do you believe that will redefine this data protection and for the BFSI sector? Like if we talk about for coming next 5 to 10 years, so what are the technologies do you think that will take up forward?
Yeah, so see, zero trust architecture, zero trust security is going to continue to lead the way. In my assumption. On top of it, there will be further security frameworks that will get developed. So cloud computing, for example, quantum computing, for example, is an upcoming field, right? More and more service providers, are starting to offer it, and like microcomputers or PCs, which are very prevalent these days, quantum computing is going to become the norm in a few years' time. Which means that both the consumer and the hackers will have significantly vast ability to, or computing power accessible to them, to probably try and break the security parameters, etc. To address that, I think there are frameworks like quantum safe encryption, also SAS, which is Secure Access Service Edge, are a few things which are taking shape. And I think these architectures will enable an advanced level of protection available to not just BFSI customers but everybody. And then by leveraging these, I think we can significantly reduce the risk of breaches. We are already kind of exploring some of these technologies. With some we are also doing proof of concepts, and I think we will be ready in time, before these threats start to become a reality. So, I mean, through your medium, I would recommend my counterparts in the BFSI space to also start exploring and experimenting with some of these upcoming technologies, and then be ready to put them in place when the time comes.
I guess, thank you so much, sir. I mean, that is the basic, agenda of this whole thing. Like that's why we, encourage ourselves and the other people as well in order to, get a look of it and just hear it from the industry expert, like what they have to say. Because you guys really have, something very much, important piece of information and advice that is really that can be helpful for the general public and for the users in BFSI space, that can make data and everything streamline in coming next few years. So that is really something we are very grateful for. So before going, sir, I would just put a little question in front of you. Like you had really mentioned about how in coming these coming years we're going to see the technologies like zero trust architect, quantum safe encryption, like that. So are there any exclusive piece of information from your end that you just wanted to share specifically on our platform that you hasn't had share on any media platform before? So would you like to do it for our audience? Anything which is which could be a key for the BFSI space.
Most certainly, yeah. Thanks for giving me that opportunity, Vishwas. So, I think what I'm going to say is not just relevant for BFSI, but probably everybody. Um, uh, Generally, what happens is when an enterprise makes a decision to invest a big, slightly big bucks into a certain technology framework, infrastructure, tools. uh, at times, there is a level of complacency, that starts to set in. That now that we have invested into this, nothing else can touch us, and we are safe, and this and that. My only recommendation and advice to stakeholders and decision makers across the industry is that um, you know there is never a stop in the threats which keep evolving. Right, you address one, 10 other threats evolve thereafter. They become reality. uh, and then it is too it is too easy to consider yourselves infallible and unbreachable. But there is no such thing which is unbreachable, right? So instead of resting on the investment which you have just made, I think we need to encourage our teams to continually experiment, continually read and become aware of the newer threats which are emanating. Also be very aware of newer technologies which can enable good and bad, right, in the future. For example, Gen AI, and together with it, agentic AI, which is the talk of the town. These have the potential to do significant good, right? But at the same time, if put in the wrong hands, they can actually do a lot of harm also. So in order to not be the one who is on the receiving end of this threat, I advise all enterprises to continually learn, to continually become aware, invest into making your employees, making your team members well read and well aware of modern and evolving technologies, and what are the potential good and the bad that they bring alongside with them, and then proactively put in measures in place so your enterprise remains secure, and by way of that your customers and your users are also secured. So that's one piece of advice that I have for your listeners.
Yes, yes, and perfectly said, sir. I mean, that is not for the stakeholders and for the industries. I mean, this advice is for everyone and everybody who is out there and planning to start something big in the specific domain, whatever they want to have. So this piece of advice, perfectly delivered by Mr. Samir. Like, if you want to go forward, then sit for a while, address the challenges, look forward to it, and then take your plan ahead, then take the step ahead. I mean, that's really a very key piece of advice. That's the whole point of organizing this whole Elets innovation talk series, sir. I mean, so that our audience and we can cater to public as a at a scale. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot for this session, sir. And I mean, I'm really grateful for it. And so, so guys, this is it. And this is Mr. Samir Goyal, head of engineering for Beat at Acuity Knowledge Partners. And we like to, extend our heartful, gratitude for you, sir, today for being here with us. I am so really grateful for you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot for being here with us. All right. Thank you, sir.